This is a Glassbox Media Podcast.
Well, welcome to a special episode of My Worst Date podcast. It's a double date, and I'm Christina.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Cassie.
I'm Madigan.
Hey.
Hey.
Hi.
That's always exciting to
I
hear
know.
new voices on the podcast.
Hello.
Yeah. So Madigan is the co-host of Your Angry Neighborhood Feminist.
Yes.
With our own Keegan.
Yeah, so her voice might not sound super unfamiliar to you if you listen to that podcast. I know there are some listeners that listen to both. So this is like one of those weird episodes of The Simpsons where like a Simpsons Family Guy mashup situation.
Do you remember it was the Simpsons, Family Guy, and then I think Bob's Burgers?
Did they do
They
one?
did like a three-way mashup.
Those
God.
were, when I was a kid, those were my favorite episodes.
The Disney Channel ones were always
Yeah,
the
whenever
best.
I was just like, worlds are colliding. You know? So I already feel very awkward because I'm just like, it's like all of my people.
Yes.
Exactly.
They're
Yeah,
so,
you know,
so
I
strange.
feel like, Christina, we should treat both of them like our guests.
exactly.
Keegan, welcome to my worst
that'll
date.
make things feel more comfortable for me. Yeah.
It's just funny because like I'm looking across from Keegan and I'm so used to that in our
Yes.
recording, and then like you guys are on either side, so it does almost feel like we're recording our thing because I'm
Yes.
just looking at you really unless I turn my head.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, there's other
there's the
people,
people
and
here.
we're not in a closet.
I know we're not confined.
Yeah, we got a nice little like pod loft.
Yeah.
Sitch
Yeah.
here.
I dig it. I can move.
Talk to us about Your Angry Neighborhood Feminist, how it starts, what the podcast is like.
So Keegan and I came up with the idea when we were at the first kind of rally, would you call it? Not protest, but a walk, maybe.
So it
And-
wasn't the Women's March. There was like a gathering between the election and the Women's March, and we
Yeah.
went together to that. Yeah,
We did. And we got on the train and went to downtown, and like just seeing everybody's anger and sadness. And we were really angry and sad. But then also when we got there, like the love that we felt from the community was really great. And we had so much fun that, we wanted to have a space where we could explore the anger and the sadness that we felt with what's going on in the world, but also have like a really strong community of support around us to be able to kind of navigate this time. And so that's kind of how it all started. I mean, we talk about everything from, forgotten feminist favorites to pop culture, movies, TV shows, different things like that. We do a What's in the News episode every week where we kind of fill everybody in on what's going on and how we feel about it and why we think it's important and things like that. And it's really been like more than anything, a really educational experience for me, but also like the community that we've created of just a lot of love and support is really wonderful to have like-minded people who like to hear what you have to say and also have something to say and something to educate us on has been something that I think is like the most special part of it to me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Well, and I mean, I think it's really cool looking at pop culture, looking at news and stuff through a feminist lens.
Yeah.
I think it's a really nice thing. That's something that I enjoy about you
Yeah.
guys' podcast. It's
Thank
not
you.
just the news, but looking at it through like ways through a woman's eyes.
Yeah.
I think it's really nice.
Well, and it's interesting because like, when it comes to the topics that we choose, we could really choose just about anything and find a way to look at it through that lens. It's just
Yeah.
the way that you choose to look at the world, really.
Right, yeah, because it's, when it becomes like your worldview, it's like everything is or
Yeah.
can be affected by that. And especially since we like to look at everything from a very intersectional place. For instance, like this month is Black History Month, and next week we're going to be talking about Black Panthers, which I think a lot of people wouldn't think is necessarily like a feminist topic. But
Yeah.
whenever you are speaking from a place of like intersectionality, all of it becomes part of this bigger movement, and
Yeah.
you should be supportive of all of these different types of people. So that's something that I really enjoy
Yeah.
about recording the podcast. I've learned so much stuff. Because sometimes I'll pick something, like we'll go back and forth picking topics. And sometimes I'll pick something that I'm like, I don't really know that much about this.
Yeah.
And then you spend like a week reading articles.
And you go down
writing
this like
notes
rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great.
My gosh, I think my favorite episode, and I say favorite because it made me want to light everything on fire.
Oh, great.
Was incels.
Oh,
Oh my God.
That one's a
Jesus.
popular one, actually.
That one's a really popular
Really,
one.
it makes my skin crawl, and it's because, and I think to tie it into My Worst Date, you get that behavior on
Yeah.
the dating apps
Yes.
like all the
For
fucking time.
real.
All the
Yeah.
time, and it was just like, oh, okay, that's where they're getting this ideology
Yes.
from, and it was terrifying.
And
it's
yeah,
terrifying.
But that shit is also like fascinating to me. Like the where it comes from. Like
Right.
that's something that I do love about our podcast is like taking a microscope to these ideologies and figuring out where they stem from and how it began. Like we did a whole one on like YouTubers as well,
Yeah.
because there's like and those things go hand in hand, and it's interesting to kind of see how these people are created.
Yeah.
And what to look for too, because
Yeah.
I think that that's something that's important too. Like I say it all the time of like mothers with boys. It's like monitor what they're looking at online. Like
Yeah.
monitor the experiences that they're having so they don't grow into men who have these very like
Right.
toxic, those men that
Views.
you're running into on Bumble who are
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
treating you like shit. You know?
Exactly. Well, and the thing I like about that too is you're giving a solution. We're not just complaining about the fact that these people exist. It's like, well, then what do we need to do about it in the future to
And
ensure that
what
it's
caused it to happen?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you got these like guys who like learn how to have sex from like watching porn.
Yeah.
You're like,
I
Or
mean,
like
to be
locker
fair,
room
I think a
talk.
lot of women learned how to have sex from watching porn too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
I think we've
myself included, for sure.
We've talked about that on the podcast
Yeah.
as well. That like the sex education in this country is lacking to such
Yeah.
a degree that I've talked about it on both podcasts. That like I didn't even know that going down on a woman was a thing.
I didn't know
until
either.
I was like an adult.
I didn't watch
Wow.
porn until I was in my 20s. I had no idea that, like you said, that going down on someone was a thing. I didn't know how to do anything. My first relationship was like super innocent and low key. Like I was totally naive to that. So it wasn't until I started having like, sexual relationships as an adult where things would just kind of be done. And I was like, is this what you're supposed to do? This is interesting. Like, that's kind of how I figured it out.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it's also one of those things that like popular culture doesn't. They do it a lot more now. You see it a lot more in TV shows now where like a man will go down on a woman. But whenever we were younger, like in the 90s when all those teen, sex comedies,
was
like
blowjobs.
American Pie.
It was all
it was all
blowjobs.
blowjobs. It
Yeah.
was all blowjobs. So I'm like, I knew that was a thing.
Sex in the City. Sex
You
in the
know.
City is probably what taught me.
My mom
yeah.
definitely
That
didn't let
men
me
go
watch
down on
that.
no, that's shocking.
It would come on like TBS, like
Yeah.
the edited version would be
Yeah.
on like TBS, and I would like watch it late at night. But it was edited, so it's
Yeah,
not like
there's no
even-
boobs, there's no like crazy stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I had no real knowledge.
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
just the man coming up from under the covers where you're like, I wonder what he was
wonder-
doing under the
was
covers.
he
rubbing her
tickling
feet?
tickling her belly button. What's happening?
Her belly button.
He's just
Oh my God, you
cleaning belly
never
button
do
lint.
that. I actually, I'm like that. I don't like my stomach touched. That's not a thing for me.
I have a
Like,
weird thing with my belly button where if you push it, it hurts all the way down my hoo-ha. I don't know what it
Oh.
is, but it is a step. I've never told
I feel
you
like
this,
you should get
Keegan.
that checked out.
I've done some online research, which is not the best, but I don't want to go to a doctor and pay money just to be like, hey, what's up with my belly button? And I've read, I've read online that like if your umbilical cord is not tied in a certain way, your skin will heal over it, but there may be like not an open
Nerves
wound,
or
but there's like
something?
open nerves or something underneath it. I've only ever met one other person that experiences this, but if you get too close to my belly button, I can't handle it. It hurts.
Wow.
I'm sorry, my face. I was looking at Madigan, just like, oh god.
Disgusted.
I love weird body stuff.
It's so
I'm about to push my
bizarre.
belly button just to see. I don't recall this being an
I
issue.
definitely don't because I have a very deep belly button. Like
Yeah.
I can go up like pretty far. Like if I stick my finger in there.
Oh my God.
So I know it doesn't hurt because sometimes I'm like, you have to clean like the inside. So
I
I'm
can
don't
like,
have that
barely
problem.
clean it. It's so hard. Well, my belly button used to be an Audi. And then as a kid, it wasn't like a big Audi, but it was an Audi. And then when I got older, it just went So I don't know.
Seems not right.
I don't remember it happening, but it happened. Like if you look at pictures of me in like a swimsuit as a kid, it's not in any. But now I wonder if it's just like when I started kind of like putting weight on in my stomach, if it just kind of like swallowed my belly button. I don't know.
Oh my God. This is the weirdest conversation.
I'm coming
I've
off
ever
really
been in.
great here. No, I have.
It's not your fault.
I have weird belly button stories. My dad actually had a really big outie when he was little, and his mother took needles to it.
No, why?
I don't know. Well, my grandma was psycho, so
Oh my God.
tried to pop it. Like
she
what
tried.
The fuck?
I don't know what she did, but she told this story to me, and my dad told this story to me. But I don't know. Like she was trying to get rid of his outie. She thought it was ugly, and like just poked at it with needles. I don't know what that did.
God. Why is this the scariest
Devastating.
thing?
Did she kill animals too? Is she a murderer?
She was actually a veterinarian, so she didn't kill animals. She helped save them.
Don't trust. Don't trust her.
she liked pills a lot, so that could be part of it.
Oh well, what was it like the 50s or 60s?
This was my dad was born in 49, so it would have been like
She's like
Yeah.
lewds, right?
yeah, exactly. She's
Yeah.
everyone was popping pills.
yeah,
Right?
exactly. Well,
Ooh.
she lived in LA too, and she would hang
Oh,
out with
God,
these like
everyone
actresses.
was-
She was friends with the woman from I Dream of Jeannie.
Oh God.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so she would pretend to be this like socialite, like LA.
Yeah.
She was trying to win my dad's dad back. So she's like, "Oh, look at how great I am in LA," and blah blah blah. He never went back to her, but she, you know,
Well, maybe because she stuck needles in their son's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Might be it.
stomach.
Could be.
So what happened to your
Wow.
dad's belly button? I must know. Did it work?
You know, I can't remember the last time I've seen my dad's belly button, but I don't recall him having an outie.
Oh God! I hope we didn't just give people ideas.
No, I'm
No.
sure that's not what
Look,
happened.
your outie is beautiful.
But my outie, but I don't have an outie anymore.
I got a flatty.
You got a
I have the
flatty?
weirdest belly button. It doesn't go in and it doesn't stick out. It just is like kind of in line with
I'm a
my-
little jealous.
It's weird. It's weird.
I'll have
I
you
wouldn't be
all
jealous.
inspect my
I
belly
definitely
button
don't
later.
have to
It's like
clean
a
it.
Kyle XY situation. Did
It's
you ever
not-
see that show? Or it's
Yeah,
just
Let
like
me see
you
your-
didn't
let
have
me
a
see your
belly
belly
button.
button.
That's weird.
All right, we're gonna look at Cassie's belly button.
You're right. Oh my gosh. I'll show you mine later. Mine is really bizarre. It's the button and then there's a little nubbin on top and then it's kind of in, but it's kind of out. It's great. It's cute. Keegan,
Look,
don't look at me that
All,
way.
You're so
all
weird.
belly
What's
buttons are
happening right
beautiful.
now?
All belly buttons are beautiful. Please don't stick pins in yours.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Or do anything to try and.
I
Yeah,
feel like I
alter
should have. We should have trigger warning that conversation. I don't know why.
Well, I didn't know I'd be coming and talking about belly buttons today.
I mean,
Yeah.
Is there a trigger warning for belly button talk?
I don't
For
know,
needles
but
and belly buttons, maybe.
yeah.
For sure, that's someone's
Yeah.
phobia. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, true.
100. Did you guys ever watch that show? God, what show was it? There was My Strange Addiction, but then there was another one that was like people talking about their phobias or whatever.
No.
Yeah,
Like
and
me and balloons.
yes,
Yeah.
What? Say that again?
Me and balloons.
Oh, you have a fear of balloons?
I do not. I
Is
don't
it the
do balloons.
popping? Is it the texture of the balloon?
Yes.
Is it okay? That makes sense to me.
Texture, smell of the
Yes.
balloon? It grosses. Is so disgusting, and it really is a textural thing. And the other thing is, it's just to me in my mind, even if it's been inflated with air that's not somebody's mouth.
Yeah.
The idea that there's spit in it, I can't get it out of my
But
head.
you know what's funny to me about that, Cassie, is that like every summer we lay on inflatables in the pool.
That's true.
And it's like
the same thing. Well, don't tell her that. Now
Sorry.
she's going to
No.
be thinking about it.
Just
no,
because-
it still doesn't. I'm still not triggered by that.
It's got to be the texture.
It's the deflation too. Like the idea of a deflated balloon just reminds me of like a used condom. It's so.
I mean, it is very
disgusting.
much like a used condom.
I mean, it is as the latex is
Yeah.
similar. Yeah.
It's funny that there's like latex fetishes, yet you're like, I don't like it. I don't want anywhere near it.
Is it weird? Like the two things I really dislike. That when I met my birth sister, she's allergic to latex. So weird, right? The other thing I really despise my whole life is any bell peppers. Like any like bell peppers. I hate the
Interesting.
flavor of them. My birth mom's allergic to them. I found that out.
maybe it
that
is something
weird?
that's like biological.
It's weird,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, you're just like, maybe because, you know, you grew inside her, there's just something about it that's like revolting to
Oh,
you,
God, the
'cause she
flavor.
couldn't have them. It's funny because my boyfriend doesn't like most bell peppers either, and I like them. Like I love making stuffed peppers. I love making stuffed peppers and stuff. So that's weird to me where I'm like, okay, I can't make
Yeah,
anything
see,
with.
I love peppers. Same thing.
Yeah.
And isn't that interesting when your partner doesn't eat something? Like Anthony won't eat chocolate, and it's really hindered my
Your chocolate
my life
intake?
as a baker because I'm just like there are so many things I want to try
Right.
or like recipes I want to use, and like he will not eat it if
Yeah.
I make it. So I'm just kind of like, okay, I guess I'm limited in my
I'll eat any
options.
chocolate you make.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Aaron
here for you.
doesn't like seafood, so
Oh, that's
me.
Sushi is
Me
my
too.
jam.
Love
my
sushi.
favorite.
Well,
thing
you and
in the
Anthony
world.
can go get sushi together because
And Max, because
Yeah.
he won't eat. I won't eat seafood. So last night I worked late, and he gave himself a little Valentine's dinner of sushi because he never we don't go to places and get he doesn't get to have sushi ever with me
It's his Valentine treat to himself.
to himself. Yep, exactly.
I will go with Anthony if it's like his birthday or whatever, and I'll find something.
I
to eat
like
there,
avocado cucumber avocado rolls. Those are fine.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
There's
he also
options.
doesn't like avocados,
Which is that's. I don't
Isn't
even
he
know what to
from
say.
Yeah,
California?
I
feel
know.
like he should have his
Sinful.
California card revoked.
Yeah, for real.
Seem right?
But yeah, it is interesting because he's like, we can go to like a sushi place. I don't mind or whatever. I'm like, what are you gonna watch me eat like a psycho? Like,
Yeah.
it's weird. I don't like that.
He's
That's
like,
not enjoyable for me.
edamame.
Yeah, but usually they have other things. So like usually they've got like chicken teriyaki,
Yeah.
or like he might find a roll that he's okay with. Like I will eat sometimes like a crab roll that has like a shrimp tempura on it or something like that. It's not my favorite. It's never what I would choose to go do, but it is something that like I can eat.
Right.
You know,
I love
so
tempura.
he might find something that like is
But you
tolerable.
know, as like a people pleaser,
Of course.
like
Yeah.
we never want to. I don't want to do things that I know he doesn't
Absolutely.
enjoy.
Yeah.
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
I mean, eventually you
was-
might.
I
Once
was
when
gonna
you're in a
say-
relationship long enough, you're like, suck it up, buttercup. We're going.
That's how I'm with TV shows too. I'm like, we are watching this because I don't have much opportunity to watch TV when you're
Right.
not around.
Yeah.
So if I want to watch this, you're gonna have to put up with it.
Deal.
Put some headphones in. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know. Go to the other room. Find
Yep.
a good book.
Yep.
Find a good book.
Tough titties.
Find a good book.
in.
when we lived in a studio, that was rough. That was real rough because
Yeah.
like
Every room is your bedroom.
every room is your bedroom, and so anything that's on TV, it's like, well, you kind of have to agree on it because it's literally filling up the whole entire home.
Oh
so,
my goodness.
Yeah.
But now we have a door and 2 rooms and 2 TVs. So we
Look at you.
I know I've moved up in the world.
really
Honestly,
have.
I only have the one TV. I'm impressed.
I mean, we have a TV in the bedroom, and then we hook up a laptop to it and watch TV before we go to bed. I fall asleep with the TV on. So.
That's how Anthony is. And that's another thing. Like, okay, so Cassie and Christina, are you quiet?
I'm quiet.
I'm quiet
But
sleeper.
For years, Adam is that way too, and I can probably recite the Zoolander DVD menu to you by
Fucking Christ.
heart.
Same.
I
You wake up in the
legit-
middle of the night and you're like, it's been repeating like over and
Oh no,
over.
we set a timer so that shit turns off.
No, I honestly like Anthony has to have something on when he goes to sleep, but luckily we've got a routine now where like we'll go in, we'll put on Arrested Development. I will know I'll read. Like I've now learned how. I never was able to do this before, but now I can read while something's happening.
Yeah. No,
So I'll read while he's watching Arrested Development, and he is asleep in about 5 minutes.
Yep, that's
Usually,
Anthony.
it's like
you
he
can
falls
turn it off.
asleep pretty quickly.
We've talked about this before. Boys fall asleep
Anywhere.
immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately. I've
any
never
position.
been with a guy who hasn't like been able to like it's time for bed. They lay down within 5 minutes.
Yeah, they're
Out.
out.
Snoring.
Michelle Wolf has that stand-up bit where she's talking about where she's like God bless men. She's like, their heads are empty. Have you watched a man fall asleep? It's like just sitting up like not a care in the world.
Yeah.
They just like lean back and they're fucking asleep.
They're asleep.
And Anthony literally can sleep anywhere.
We've seen
in
it.
any position immediately.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Best
I'm
picture of him on the cruise, just crashed out on a like couch
on a
like,
chair.
What's happening? And we're in the middle of like waiting to go do something.
I could have an entire
funny.
Instagram of like Anthony asleep places. 'Cause
Um,
I've got-
should
you don't
start
start
one.
that immediately, if not
Oh.
sooner.
I
my
have one
God.
of
Just
him
call it Sleeping Tony.
sleeping Tony. I have a picture of him asleep at Disneyland.
Oh, what?
Like, yeah, we were in the animation room, like
no.
waiting to go in for something, and he fell asleep on the like couch area.
Oh, my
out there.
gosh.
The number of times he falls asleep on. I should honestly also record him like waking up because he'll be like, was I asleep? And I'm like, yeah, for the last hour I watched 2 episodes of The Office.
Yeah.
Yes, you fell asleep.
Sleeping Tony is like my new favorite thing now.
Sleeping Tony. We actually had a it was like a Facebook album back in the day in high school of my friend Emily, who we called Crash. She would just fall asleep on the floor at parties or fall asleep in random beds at parties.
Oh dear.
And then we
seems
started
dangerous.
Yeah, but we like would just like we go to the mall and take pictures of Emily laying down in weird places. Like she wasn't even sleeping, but it was just like a funny thing we did where she's like, oh, here she is in Victoria's Secret.
became her
Here
thing.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's awesome. Oh my God.
Well, dating wise, let's hear it.
Yeah.
Worst date.
My worst date.
Yeah, you've mentioned you're a serial monogamist.
I am a serial monogamist. I started dating when I was almost 16, and I've pretty much like I don't like to not be with someone if I don't think that it's gonna like go somewhere. Like when I first moved to LA, I definitely went on more dates and kind of like hooked up with different people. But for the most part, I feel like I've had like one person that I've focused on, and I haven't really gone on a lot of dates. It also scares me. I have severe stranger danger. So like the idea of meeting up with someone that I've never met before or wasn't introduced through friends, like terrifies me. I don't want to do it. So when I was 18, I just moved to LA like a few months ago, and it was right before Valentine's Day, and I was dating this guy, and I was like all about him. I thought he was great, and he thought I was great, and then just out of the blue, like started ghosting me before ghosting was a thing, ended it, cut it off, and I was heartbroken. I was absolutely heartbroken.
But you were also 18.
I was
And
18. Well,
ghosting is just the worst. I like. How long have you guys been talking
Especially
at this
well,
point?
we'd been talking for a few months, but this is the thing. So I lost my virginity to my high school boyfriend, but we only ever slept together once.
Okay.
This was the first guy that I had any sort of sexual relationship with. And so when he left me, it was shortly after we had slept together, and it was just really, really hurtful. And
my
I
God.
didn't
That's how
understand.
mine was with my first boyfriend.
Yeah.
We had sex one time and then very shortly after. And that was devastating.
It is devastating because it's just, you've never experienced that kind of like rejection before.
Yeah.
It was really
Even
horrible.
though it wasn't tied together necessarily.
Yeah.
In your mind, it is.
It is.
Well, and that kind of physical closeness,
Yeah.
whenever that's new.
to finally do that.
And when you're 18, there is something in your brain. We've been conditioned to like connect
Sex is
sex
love.
and love.
Yeah,
right? Like,
totally.
And so it does heighten those feelings. If you already had romantic feelings for somebody, it does like heighten those. It can.
Yeah,
it
really did. And I became friends with all of his friends and this whole thing. So one of the guys that I met through the guy that I was like dating, he and I talked with him a lot when I was kind of going through that really shitty time where he was like just kind of dropped me entirely, and we became close, and we'd hang out and we'd like run errands together. And like, I've always had close guy friends, and I've always felt very safe around my guy friends. I never felt like I was like sexualized in any way, or that they were going to force themselves on me in any way. So I just felt very comfortable. I was naive. And so it was almost Valentine's Day. And he's like, why don't we just like go to a nice dinner? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. I like put a dress on, and I had to go to class, and then he picked me up after school, and then we
Oh my God, is this nice guy TM? I'm getting nice guy TM
Yeah.
flags.
yeah,
Me too.
for real. So he picks me up, and we start driving to a restaurant. He made a reservation, and I can't remember where we were, but we were in bumper to bumper traffic. We did not make our reservation. It
Hi,
got
LA.
canceled. Yeah, it was horrible. So we're like in the car, and I see an IHOP, and I'm like, let's just go to IHOP. So we got really high and went to IHOP, and it was great. I just had a huge stack of pancakes. So I was like, this is exactly what I needed. This is everything. So we get back in the car, we drive back to my apartment, and I'm like in the kitchen doing something, and I see him like take something out of his pocket, and he's like putting it on the table, in the coffee table. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I realize he's taking out pills, and he offers me ecstasy. And apparently via text message, I had said that I would do ecstasy with him. He referred to it as E, which I did not know what E was at the time.
Oh, no.
And I don't think it clicked with what he was asking, because I was very, like, I like to smoke weed, but even today I'm like scared of drugs. Like real drugs scare me. And so I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. And he acted like super annoyed that like his night was ruined because we're not going to like get high together.
Right. Well, and also,
right up.
especially, it still means this now, but back then, I think it was really pushed in the mid 2000s, the 90s, where it was just like, E was a sex thing.
It was.
Like, it was like, this is
And
the
I
thing you're going to
didn't-
do, and you're going to have sex. You're going to have sex all night.
Yeah.
And so that's probably what he was expecting from you.
He 100% was,
Yeah.
because after he offers me ecstasy and I say no, we're sitting on my couch and he starts making a move on me. He starts putting his hand on me. He gets really close and I turn him away. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, no, I don't feel that way about you. And he went into this.
Because he was your friend, right?
was my
It
friend.
wasn't, there was no romantic.
From my end, no, I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea. So he stands up and gives me this like white male rage monologue about how he doesn't need any more friends. He doesn't need any more friends.
Oh,
He gets
Jesus.
all mad. He grabs his stuff, puts it in his pockets. He's huffing and puffing. He's like
Oh,
yelling.
honey.
He's like yelling at me for turning him down.
He's throwing a temper tantrum.
He for sure was like, and then he just leaves.
Okay.
And I'm still sitting on my couch and I'm just like, what just happened? What am I like? I was just having pancakes and then I was offered drugs and then he tried to hook. Like, I don't know what's happening right now.
Jesus.
And I think I only saw him like one time after that because I had something of his or something, but it was so hurtful to me. And that was the first time I ever realized that like I could lose a friend because I don't want to hook up with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was like, that's the worst date that I can think of because like I just had no idea.
Yeah. You didn't even think you were
I didn't
on a
think
date.
it was a date. Exactly. And so
Those are
after,
bad dates.
after it was done, I was just like, what was this night?
Well, and you know, from his perspective, he's going to all of his friends, I'm sure, and saying how hard he was friend zoned. But it's like,
Yeah.
no, we were friends.
Oh, and I got her
Right.
a reservation for Valentine's Day and yada, yada, yada. Like me and my guy friends did that all the time. Like we'd go out to eat together and like, we would even be like, oh, we're on a date right now. Like we'd like make little jokes and stuff, but it was never like a real thing. We would just be enjoying each other's company.
Right.
And that was hard for me to realize that like maybe not every guy just wants to be my friend. What are these ulterior motives?
Yeah.
And it was very eye-opening for me. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, I think that is, part of growing up because that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And that's so 18 in general.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
to think too, like, cause at that time you're just like, oh, I can have guy friends.
Yeah.
You haven't
When he was
when
much
Harry
older.
Met Sally, that whole thing yet, where you're just like, oh,
I love
girls
that
and girls
movie.
can't be
I
friends.
went and
I'm
Yeah.
like,
saw
yeah,
that
we
movie
can.
last night.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I
Oh, I
went.
think Candyman was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh
When
my
Harry
gosh,
Met
there
Sally?
weren't that many people in the theater, so I'm surprised I didn't run into him. But yeah, at the ArcLight for Valentine's Day, they were playing When Harry Met Sally, and so we went. And oh my gosh, I freaking love that movie so much. It was so fun to watch it in the theater. But yeah, I mean, that's that whole. I think the criticism of that movie. I love that movie, you know, but I think one of the criticisms of that movie is that at the end of the day, his thesis that men and women can't be friends is proven true because
Yeah.
they end up
Because they end
together.
up
at the
together.
end.
Yeah. And I wish that they hadn't.
Yeah,
Right.
even though they had this really beautiful friendship, like
Yeah.
throughout the movie. At the end of the day, it was sex. They have sex, and then after that, it's like, oh, we can't just be friends anymore.
Yeah.
And that is the main criticism of that movie, even though it's one of my favorites. But that's something that we've talked about on My Worst Days like many times. Like, do you believe that men and women can be friends? I think so.
Totally.
But we have mixed opinions on that.
And I
Yeah.
think it changes too sometimes because I think our viewpoints now are going to be skewed by the relationships that we're currently in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus, so it's always a constantly changing thing.
Right. I guess
do
Totally.
believe that.
it has to be like, can two unattached single people who
Right.
are men and women just be friends?
Right.
And I think so, but also it's been so long since I've been a single person
Yeah.
that it's like, maybe not. Like, who knows? Like,
Yeah.
I think I have guy friends that are just guy friends, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you were single, would it be the same?
It's mostly
Yeah.
like my guy friends from high school, and a lot of
That
my
was
friends
me.
who are single still hang out with those people when they live in Minnesota. And yeah, they're just friends and they're single, and there's never been anything. I mean, there's also a lot of like, my friends have like had sex with each other when they're drunk, and then like they're just fine. They just go back to normal,
Right.
And it's whatever. And they're like, let's just pretend that never happened. But that's a
Friendcest.
rarity. But it's
that
happened.
thing happened. That
Yeah.
happens a lot in like close friend groups.
It does.
And especially if you've been friends since you were young, like
Yeah.
that was a thing for sure. Like right out of high school, everyone's hanging out. Everybody's hormones are at like an 11. So that it was a thing that happened, and I do think that you could just go back.
Yeah.
To just being friends after that.
I've had a couple guys that I've dated out here that I'm
agree.
just friends with now, and it's almost like funny. It's like, I've seen you naked. Like,
Oh man.
But yeah, I think my experience was skewed by being attached and then becoming unattached and seeing people that I thought were just friends actually kind of
circling the boat.
Yeah. And it's shocking. And the same things happened to a friend of ours who was just like literally like thought she had these guy friends who crossed the line were like, and she's like, it just opens your eyes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. Like this first opportunity. Like I thought we just had a friendship, but now you're going to try to take it, or maybe you've always had these feelings and have I not noticed? And it's just weird.
It makes you look back on everything and be like, what the fuck was real?
Well, that's how I felt about that bad date, because I was like, wait, like you've been there for me and we've like hung out a lot, and it really was just like, what was I missing this whole time?
That's
It was
weird.
It is weird. The whole concept of friend zoning to me is weird, because inherently what it means is that if I'm nice to you, you owe me something.
Right.
And like, that's just friendship. Like if you're my friend, you should be nice to me. You should want to do nice things for me. We should want to make each other feel good and happy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's friendship. You know what I mean? That's what being a friend is. So then to have it kind of turned around on you and say like, no, I only want to be nice to you if either you're
There's an
giving me
agenda.
something.
Then that's not a
It's
friend.
transactional.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Then that's just not a friend. Like that's not a good person, and that's not a friend. And you know,
Yeah, but it
Bye.
is an interesting like thing to look at
Yeah.
in our society, that's become such a that whole friend zoning idea has become so prevalent.
It's almost
Yeah.
a trope now anymore, you know?
Yeah.
The other thing that we always do with our guests is we do something called deal breakers.
okay.
And I think we usually do like 3 deal breakers. Like, what are your top 3 deal breakers?
Or whatever what you can think of. Yeah.
Yeah, I tried thinking about deal breakers, and I feel like this is really hard for me because I'm one of those people where I'm very when it comes to like little habits and stuff, I'm very forgiving. Like I hate that my boyfriend leaves his wet towel on our bed after he showers. That makes me livid, and he never closes the closet door. It makes me absolutely crazy. But that's not really like a deal breaker.
It's just a pet peeve.
It's a pet peeve. Yeah. I mean, I feel like my deal breakers are just kind of things that are more like common
Human-based,
sense things. Like just don't be an asshole. You know, don't be. I mean, honestly, if somebody doesn't agree with my views, that's a big deal
your
breaker for
worldview.
me.
Yeah, and that's anybody.
If they don't consider themselves to be kind of a feminist man and be accepting of what that means and supportive of me and my journey of educating myself, like that's a huge deal breaker for me. When I was on Bumble for the short period of time between my relationships, I put like feminist bitch in my Bumble bio because it's like you need to know what you're getting into, because I don't want anybody talking to me who doesn't already think
if that turns
okay.
you off, great.
Yeah.
Great,
yeah.
actually.
That's
Stay out of my
probably,
DMs.
yeah, that's probably my number one deal breaker. I don't like things like spitting. I don't like it when a guy spits. Like if we're just like walking and just like that's gross to me.
Cassie doesn't like that either.
I don't like spitting.
I don't like spit.
I don't like
spit.
that. Yeah. And then do I have a third? I mean, probably just like, oh, you know what I hate is when guys don't know what jeans to buy. That's a big thing.
I need more.
please.
Yes.
Like when a man in his 20s is wearing dad jeans, like the really loose fitting jeans that are kind of long, or like just jeans that don't fit them. Like that's a deal breaker to me. It's like you don't know how to dress yourself and present yourself to the world. I can't deal with that. Okay. You know?
That's funny.
Like just men with jeans. Like I saw this guy, there's this great burrito like stand that comes up on Lancashire and Victory every Wednesday. They have this amazing burrito deal and I'm obsessed. So we were in line and there was this guy who was like really attractive. Like he kind of had piercings and dark hair and he was like tall and thin and like this gorgeous guy, but he's wearing these ugly ass jeans that look like they're 10 sizes too big with a belt around it. And I'm
So
like,
you're doing
no.
the scan, right? Like you're starting from the
Like,
top and you're like, good,
yes,
nice,
yes.
this is fantastic. And then you hit
What
the
the
jeans
fuck?
and you're like, oh, yep, exactly.
it's like you would have so many women coming after you if you knew how to wear pants. That's it. That's
you
it. There we go. There's my
That's
three
amazing.
deal breakers.
I love that. I think
Not even
that's
mad
hilarious.
about that.
No.
You know what, guys?
That's amazing.
Speaking of pet peeves, I just discovered one that I didn't realize made me as internally furious as it does. It's kind of like that tag group where it's just like, oh, well, this filled me with a rage that I didn't expect. Like
by the way, this is giving me so much anxiety because I'm like, oh my God, is it something I do?
No,
already.
It isn't.
In my anxiety brain,
It
I'm like,
isn't.
oh,
This
shit,
is
do I
Keegan's
do
way
this?
of bringing it up to you.
Yeah,
by the way.
on the podcast, like explain yourself. No, because we've talked about like there are little things that annoy me. Like the main one that we talked about is like slow walkers, like people who walk in a row and they walk really slowly. I freaking hate it. This bothers me more than that.
Okay.
And it is because it's happened to me a bunch in the office where, because the way that the hallways are, they're like kind of narrow and you'll turn a corner and you'll almost hit somebody.
Oh, I hate that.
Right. And so I'll do that and I'll be like, oh, sorry. And the person goes, uh-huh.
Oh.
Or like when they're holding the door open for you or something
Yeah.
and you say, thank you. And they say, uh-huh.
Nope.
It bothers me.
Okay, that one.
Oh,
doesn't bother me
manners.
So much.
Manners.
Say
Oh,
you're
it bothers
welcome.
me.
Say thank
No
you.
problem.
Say sorry.
Something that's like,
Excuse
that's,
me?
that's more
Yeah.
than, mm-hmm, or uh-huh. Like it.
Yeah.
And
in
also we
general.
almost ran into each other.
Yeah.
So it's my Midwesternness that's saying sorry in the fucking first place.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you can be like, oh, no problem. Or, you know,
Yeah.
oh, sorry too. Whatever.
Yeah.
Just don't say uh-huh to me.
But what ties into that with me is when people say whatever or I don't care.
Ugh.
That drives me up a wall. Like when I was little, I had this friend and I was like, do you want to have a sleepover tonight? I don't care. Whatever. And I'm like, no, give me a yes or no answer, bitch.
Oh, I don't.
Oh my God, that's
now
so
I
funny.
get it. Yeah.
I don't like it.
Speaking of things that friends have done when you were younger that
Yeah.
are major pet peeves, that
Yeah.
just triggered something in me, which
Did
is I
it?
had a friend when I was young.
Yeah.
And her name was Melissa. Still friends with her like on Facebook and stuff, but she
Yeah.
lives in Ohio. And she used to call my mom.
You're like, bitch, that's my mom.
That's my mom.
I'll cut you.
Yes. I swear to God, nothing made me more like, and I know there's people who have those kind of relationships where they're like, hey mom, whatever. Like my husband now can call my mom
Right.
now because we've been married for almost 15 years.
Right.
So now it's okay.
Can I say I still think it's weird? Like
weird.
I don't know that I will ever call my mother-in-law mom.
No.
I don't think I'll ever do that.
I don't feel comfortable.
And I
with
never,
it.
honestly, the
weird.
way I was when I was a
hate
kid,
it.
I think I made my friends' parents uncomfortable because I would always call them Mr. whatever.
Oh,
or
my mom
Mrs.
hated
whatever.
that.
Me too.
I always did that. And so unless they asked me not to. So you knew that I was getting real friendly if I started calling you by your first name.
Yeah.
If I was like, oh, hey, Debbie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you knew it. Like to me, that was my mom. Like that was me calling someone mom. Like that's
Yeah.
as far as I'm willing to go.
That's really funny because I call Max's mom mama. Like I'll like not all the time.
Sure.
But I'll be like, hey mama, what's up? Like it's just this
Sure. It's
kind
almost
of,
like a, what up, mama bear?
Yeah,
Like,
kind of.
Yeah.
Well,
kind
and
of a,
she's
not like mom.
She's
That's weird.
super nurturing too, and like has a very like motherly instinct like toward me. We spend a lot of time just the two of us, so we do have a really close relationship where I feel comfortable doing that. I can't imagine calling his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really weird.
I
There's
can't.
I hate
something
that,
that's
actually.
like a
I don't
step.
like that. I don't like it. Let's not say anything more about it. I think
Yeah.
we got it. I fucking think we got it. We're gonna wrap that up.
My friends would call my mama. They still call her Mama Haggerty.
See, then that to me is different too. Like
Yeah.
if it's like a mama something, like with the first or last name, to me that's different than just a straight up mom. And to be honest, if my friends called my mom, I don't think it would really bother me. It's just something that I could never do.
Yeah.
Like, there's something in me that's just like I cannot.
I hated
You're
it.
not my mom.
It's a level of familiarity that I'm just like, am I betraying my mom right now?
I
By calling
hated
you
it.
mom?
I hated it.
That's
I
very
hated
weird.
it. I hate it. I still hate it.
Yeah.
I'm still actively at 41 years old in a place where I hate that.
That's so
what would you
funny.
think? What would you think if one of Dylan's friends called you mom? Would it freak you out?
Absolutely not. Get
I'm
the
not your
fuck-
fucking mom.
Get the fuck out of here with that shit immediately, if
Hi,
not
Mom.
sooner. Please don't ever speak to me.
Just to a child, don't speak to
Period.
me.
You're like, actually, I don't want to even you just
Actually-
pretend like I would rather pretend like you're not here.
Oh my god!
Actually.
I actually saw what I would be like as a mother because I just watched I, Tanya.
Oh,
Oh my
no,
God.
stop it.
would not.
Oh my god.
I was
so
like,
stupid.
oh my god, that's me.
no,
as a
it
mom.
isn't.
In the least way ever. I don't know how you self-identify there at all.
Wait, did
worried
you
about
identify with
you.
Tanya Harding? Who did you
No,
identify
the
with?
mother.
Allison
Oh,
Janney.
No.
Never.
Like truly,
Crazy.
I'm worried about your
She
mental state if that's
is
where you are at mentally.
Yeah.
The worst.
You would never
the
be like
literal
that.
worst. She
Jesus.
is so funny in that movie.
She's so funny.
It's
I
so
love
funny
Allison
too. I
Janney.
can't imagine ever have calling my friend's parents mom. I couldn't because, like you said, I feel like it was almost a betrayal.
Yeah.
Well,
and
and
maybe
it
it's
just-
the adopted
there's-
person in me too, who's
Yeah.
like, no, this is a very specific person. She is my mom.
My mom.
She says my mom.
There's something very intimate about calling someone else's, like for me, and maybe it's also that kind of like very respectful thing
Yeah.
that like my grandparents, like, oh, God help you. If in a black household, at least in my grandparents' household, if you were to call an elder by their first name,
God.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So for me, it was like, it felt disrespectful not to call somebody Mrs. or
Yeah.
Mr. whatever their name was, you know? And so that was something that I had to overcome. So by the time I was calling people by their first name, I was like, all right, I feel like I've gotten away with something.
Yeah.
And
There's
I need
a
to not.
northern southern version of this too, which is that in the South, people are like Miss Keegan or Miss Christina or Miss Madigan.
Yeah.
Whereas
Sure.
up north, your
It's
aunt Christina, your aunt Keegan,
Yes.
your aunt Madigan.
Yeah.
Like that's the difference. And it
Yeah.
was a weird because I grew up, and I told you this before, like even my dad, everybody was aunt somebody or uncle somebody, that he eventually started calling his parents Aunt Mommy and Uncle Daddy. Like,
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? Because everybody
That
was-
is funny.
You know, so it was kind of took out that kind of Miss so-and-so thing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting. That is interesting. And also, I think it's also a cultural thing. Like
Yeah.
there are certain cultures where that's just
Yeah.
like not how you
Yeah.
communicate.
Yeah,
And-
we had a ton of aunts and uncles growing
Exactly.
up, and I was like, when
Okay,
I
but
asked
which
about
ones
it-
are really related to me?
exactly, yeah,
I was blown
like-
away to not think that my
I was-
parents actually had that many.
It's like, oh God, those were just friends. They were,
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, we did when we were little. We couldn't just be like, oh, Barbara.
Yeah.
Oh, God. No.
That was my mom.
Oh,
Or my
see-
best friend Sarah's mom's name was Barbara, and everybody called her Susie. And it was really, that was easier to cross.
All three of us are like, huh?
I know.
Barbara and
anyway.
Susie.
Well, they either call her Barb or Susie. I know, it was really weird. Anyway, the weird thing for me though was the one thing they always said to me. I mean, we lived right behind each other. And
Right.
I would go to her house like pretty much daily.
Yeah.
And I would always knock on the back door. And I remember her mom saying, if you don't quit knocking on the back door, you're never allowed over here again.
Oh my
because they were like,
gosh.
just walk in. I couldn't. Like,
Yeah.
I just couldn't just
That
walk
is
in.
No.
weird.
No.
I can't.
They
I
were
still
like-
knock on your door.
Me too.
Sometimes, Christina.
Well,
you just walk
sometimes.
in.
Yeah, because you tell, and I'm like,
Chuck calls you Aunt TT.
yes.
I still
Just
knock
walk
on
in.
your door, Cassie. I can't. I'm so.
My friends at
weird.
home, I walk in, but like in LA, I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, doors are always locked too, so I'm like, I have to knock so you know I'm here.
Yeah.
Well, also-
And
Can't
also,
just walk in.
I don't want to feel like I'm constantly afraid of being murdered. So I'm just
true.
like, I don't want to turn around and there be somebody in my
Yeah,
house.
yeah, exactly.
never
Even
just
if
walk
I
in
was
your house.
expecting you, like
Yeah.
Madigan comes over every week to record, and even if I'm expecting you, even when I'm
I
expecting
would feel
you,
weird coming in.
when you knock. Sometimes I still jump. Like I'm like, what the fuck? Because no one ever knocks on your door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like,
That's
I think
funny.
The only house, probably the same for you, Christina, because you have just walked into my house, and doesn't bother me at all. They're probably the only house I would just walk into.
Right.
If you knew I was coming, I probably would have tapped on the door first and then opened.
Yeah.
oh, but see, yes, you're giving a warning shot. Like that's fine. If
Yeah.
you're like,
Shots fired.
yeah,
Coming in.
Hi, I'm here.
See,
then walk in.
You cannot knock at my door. I have 2 dogs. So I text
you
everybody.
know.
I say either like text me when you're here and I'll unlock the door and just come in, because then they won't freak
Freak
the
out.
fuck out. Especially my like 1-year-old pit bull has this like crazy bark when somebody knocks at the door. Oh my gosh. And that sends my heart into like a tizzy. And it's too much. It's too much for my little heart. I can't do it. Just come in.
How do we feel about people who open the door and then say knock knock?
They need to be
That's
canceled.
the whitest shit I ever heard in my life.
Knock,
and
knock.
I'm white.
Knock knock.
They came from Applebee's to do that.
No,
Actually,
that's
They
a
are
super.
They're
white
wearing
socks and
jeans that
sandals.
don't fit.
they're wearing
Yes,
jeans
jeans
that
that don't
Madigan
fit.
hit.
But like that's my
Knock,
mom.
knock.
My mom does stuff like that. Like, I think it's some kind of a Midwest mom thing. Knock,
And a
knock.
gener- and a
when they're coming into
generational
the
thing.
bedroom and stuff. Like knock knock.
Yeah, it is a very mom coming into your bedroom thing
Yeah.
where they're like, I'm not going to give you any time to hide your porn.
Yeah,
Knock, knock, bitch.
I'm in. I'm in.
But why would you want to see that?
Oh God.
Oh, I'm knocking when I have kids and the door's closed. I'm giving them ample time to hide what they need to hide.
Oh my
I'm
God.
a doors open person in general.
Yeah, same.
I prefer to just keep my doors open so that suspicion is not
I'm not doing
I'm a
anything.
doors closed bitch. Here, I'm like doors closed.
I didn't have a door on my bedroom growing up because I lived in a loft.
Oh, there you go.
But like they would knock on the
Staircase.
not on the like the wall
Platform or
The
whatever,
little-
yeah.
they would like knock on that. But also I would hear you coming up the stairs, and I knew by the sound of the steps if it was my mom or my dad. My dad had slow, big, clumping steps, and my mom would just be like doot 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 doot, and I'd be like, and then I would just see a little head pop up, and then I would there. And I didn't even have I had a bathroom connected to my bedroom. But when you open the door, the
Brag.
bathroom was so small
I
that
know,
it took up the whole. Well, I grew up in the house that my mom grew up in, and they kept having kids, so they kept having to add on to the house.
Oh, gosh.
So both my bedrooms growing up
How
were
Catholic of them.
yeah, they were. So both my bedrooms were like my mom's rooms at some point during her childhood. So I took the door off my bathroom because my room was so small that when you'd open the door, it would take up the whole room, and I couldn't have any space for anything. So I just had like streamers that came down, like fabric.
You had like love beads.
Yeah.
I love those like hippie
Pretty
love
much.
beads. Room
So even
dividers.
now, I pee with the bathroom door open. Like
my
I'm so
nightmare.
used to. I don't. Even at work, I don't always close the door all the way. And then I remember there's a 7-year-old running around, and I'm like, ugh.
There's a hard divide on this table. I mean, I would pee with the door open if I was home by myself, but
Oh,
I would never. If there's another soul in that house, that door is shut.
Our bathroom's far enough away from Chris that, like, at our old place, I probably would have shut the door because it is like visible from the living room, but here it's not visible, so I'll just leave the door open.
But what if he walks by? Yeah, no.
No,
Oh,
Door
see,
shut.
Oh,
I-
honey, 15 years later, he's seen my insides.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he doesn't
See, that's the thing.
literally.
That's the thing with Max is that he doesn't want to hear or see anything. Like peeing is fine, but like,
well, right.
Oh, but I used to poop with the door open. in my
no,
old
Matt
place.
again.
I was with my ex for like 4.5 years. He'd pooped in front of me. Oh, when he would get drunk.
No.
When he would get drunk, he would be shitting in the toilet and puking into a garbage can
Oh, no,
in front of
that's
him, and
too
I would
much.
have to sit with him.
Oh no!
Yeah.
No,
Sorry.
you're a
You
grown
may have to edit
fucking
that
man.
no out. That was so loud.
Christina's dying right now.
Absolutely fucking not. I'm with you, Christina,
I can
on every
hear it.
level.
I can hear it.
I hear
The plopping
Yes.
and the
Yeah.
retching.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
All right. I think we've said what we need to say about that. Let's move on.
Wow, and there's no alcohol involved right now, and I'm like, I've taken a dump in front of a dude.
Oh my god.
I like.
move forward.
There's something about this podcast that makes people very vulnerable, and they
Yeah.
just reveal
All
things
of
about
it.
themselves.
Well, I'm just sitting with a group of girls. It's fun.
I'm a hairstylist. I'm used to this. Everybody reveals all their shit to me.
I
You're
don't
the
want.
therapist.
I've been with Anthony for almost 7 years, and I am still don't want him to know that I poop.
I think he knows.
That's so weird.
He
to me.
knows.
Spoiler alert.
He knows.
He knows
but
you do.
I even if I really have to, I'll still like get up quietly and be like, I just have to use the restroom real quick, and like I sneak away.
Yeah.
I don't want it to become an urgent situation.
My stomach hurts thinking about how delicate you have to be.
Dude, I
can't do it.
Oh, I just say I have to poop, and then I go poop.
I lay it down like the rat song after my coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Oh, and then like coffee and then a cigarette.
Ooh,
oh my god.
That is like
the
I
double
would,
whammy.
Yeah, when I was younger and I smoked like actual cigarettes, I would
cigarettes make
put
you
it
poop?
out.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
I would put it out and then I would go and then I would come back and finish the cigarette because it would be like bam,
Boom. Yeah.
like, and then you're fucking
Yeah,
booking it to the bathroom.
Cigarettes will make you like
I
it's
never knew
faster
that.
even than coffee.
I
Oh, yeah.
never knew that. Why?
If you ever need to poop, just smoke a cigarette and you'll just.
You
What
will.
is it? Is there?
I think it's the nicotine because technically I just listened to a Dateline about a woman who was poisoned with nicotine, which you can do.
Yeah.
You can poison yourself with too much nicotine can make you sick to your stomach.
Oh, so
And
you're saying
eventually it
you
does-
shouldn't punish a child by making them smoke an entire pack of cigarettes?
No, you
No.
probably should not. Because
Great.
you can
You
poison
can
someone.
kill 'em.
You can
Yeah.
Oh
kill
my
somebody
God.
from too much. So there's other things that have nicotine in them, which I learned on Dateline. And potatoes is one of them.
What?
There's
Is that why I love
there's
potatoes
small-
so much?
Small amounts of nicotine in potatoes, not enough to poison you, but like it's a really really insanely high dose
Can
of
you smoke
nicotine
a potato?
that makes you, but it makes you vomit, sick to your stomach. It's a nicotine poisoning.
That's why you
So I
can't wear too
wonder-
many patches too.
Right, because you can
okay.
poison yourself.
Got it.
And it's why you shouldn't smoke when you're on the patch.
Yes.
Yeah. So, well, we are now an educational podcast. You're welcome.
The more you know, the rainbow and the
That's
shooting
right.
star went
That's
across.
right.
The more you know.
But yeah, like today was the trifecta in that like I hit my vape and had a cup of coffee, had wine last night. Actually, what's the quadfecta, I guess? Because also like it's that day, like pre-period where it's just like,
There it goes.
God.
and it was like,
You're like, I'm going down.
I'm Mary J. Blige all over the
You made that toilet your bitch.
Oh God.
I was like waiting to exhale.
Oh my God. I love it.
But like, how do you? I've been in your apartment, Christina, and I'm like, what did
Did
you
I
send
do?
Eric on a walk?
Here's what I did.
Like,
I was like,
play music really loud?
I was like, I'm gonna take a shower.
They
And I
could
shut
turn the
door,
water on.
and I turn the water on, and I'm letting the water warm up, and I'm like, just paint the bowl, wash it away.
Oh
Yep.
my God.
So
Love it.
Oh
and then you take a shower afterwards and there's no smell anymore.
Exactly.
right.
Because
That's
you're
right.
using
Smells
all
like
your
so
products
science.
and stuff. Yeah, it's science.
Science.
So
Poor
that's
Keegan
how I
right
do
now
it.
Oh,
looks,
man.
she's wrapping herself in her sweatshirt with this pitiful look on her face. So scared.
But that's how I
can't.
get like a really wretched morning poop. That's what you got to do.
gotta do
You're
what you
like,
gotta do.
I got to get in the shower.
Yep.
And then
And you probably you do
and
have
you
to
actually
get in the
do.
shower.
You lay it down and you take it
Clean
off.
it up.
Clean it up. Oh my gosh. Well,
What a day, huh?
should we fuck, marry, kill?
Yeah. Okay. So anybody who listens to our podcast, Your Angry Neighborhood Feminist, will know that Madigan loves The Wizard of Oz.
It's
You've
my life.
Always loved The Wizard of Oz. You've always loved Judy Garland.
Yep.
For as long as I've known you. We actually went together to get my first tattoo, and you got a Cowardly Lion quote.
Yep, I
on-
have. If I only had the nerve on my side of my rib cage.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's been a thing for you for a long time.
Yeah, since I was a baby. My
Yeah.
mom loves it. We've collected Wizard of Oz toys, trinkets, posters,
Memorabilia.
dolls, everything. We got rid of a lot of it when my parents moved out of Minnesota, which is really upsetting, but we probably had a small fortune of Wizard of Oz collectibles. I've met the Munchkins. I've met Judy Garland's kids. Except for Liza and Lorna, I haven't met yet. So I guess only one of her kids. I don't know why I was thinking it was plural. But I did see her daughter perform live earlier this year at the Hollywood Bowl. And she sang all Judy songs. And it was a very emotional time for me. Yeah. She opened for Barry Manilow. So I got to see both of them. It was great.
Amazing.
Are you a
Did
fan
you
of
watch
Lo?
Judy?
I'm a fan of Lo. I will not
fan of
watch
Lo.
Judy.
Oh, okay.
I'm very much against the movie because her kids didn't sign on to the project. They didn't like what they were doing with the project. It's based on a play that I love and I've seen, and it was really beautiful. And it's showing the last 3 months of her life and how, everything kind of crescendoed into her death. But I don't agree with Renee Zellweger's singing in the movie. I think they should have used Judy's voice because it is nothing in comparison. Her somewhere drives me crazy. And I don't like it when the families don't back a project. To me, that says something that there's something not right here. I've heard that she's great. I have nothing against Renee Zellweger. I was fucking pissed when she won the Oscar for it though, because I don't like the way that movie was done.
All right.
So I don't think I'll ever see it. And there's so many there's a biopic that came out when I was younger. It was like a made for TV miniseries. And it's so good. Judy Davis plays older Judy Garland.
Oh, wow.
It's long and it's so well done. Like Hugh Laurie is in it. Like
Oh, wow.
a bunch
I
of
love
people
Hugh
are
Laurie.
in it. And it was just this made for TV thing, but it was based off of her daughter Lorna's book, Me and My Shadows, and her daughter actually narrates the movie as it's going. Like,
Oh,
then
wow.
Mama did this. And
See, yeah, I'd actually rather watch
sounds
that.
Yeah.
very interesting.
it's
actually.
really good.
Yeah.
I'll send you guys a YouTube link because it's all
Please
on
do.
YouTube.
Please do.
yeah.
Yeah, every year because her birthday and her death date are in June. So every June I watch it.
Aw.
Yeah, it's great.
But so when we reached out to you to ask you what to do for a fuck, marry, kill, you said that you wanted to fuck, marry, kill
Dorothy's friends.
Dorothy's friends. So we're gonna
In a
fuck,
very
marry, kill.
Madigan style.
Yes.
Very Madigan style. So we're gonna fuck, marry, kill the Cowardly Lion, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow.
Yes, we are.
All right. Do you have thoughts on this, Madigan?
I totally
have. You
thoughts
thought
on
about
this.
it?
I did assume, like before we were recording, I came to a conclusion,
Okay.
and it's really hard for me because I love all three of them so much.
That's what makes this game so hard.
But I think I would want to fuck the Cowardly Lion.
Interesting.
He'd be kind of wild, right?
Okay.
Oh, I didn't
also
think
be-
about it in those
But
terms.
he'd also be kind of like
but gentle.
he'd be emotional and gentle and sweet, and he'd be
Okay.
really soft and furry and cuddly.
Everything about this is making Cassie want to die.
Yeah.
inside.
All of that.
I would marry the Tin Man because he has the biggest heart. And
Oh,
then I guess I would
sweet.
have to kill the Scarecrow, but I don't want to.
But so wait, but you're marrying the Tin Man. But okay, all right. But he's heartless.
But he's the one. But you learn at the end that he actually had the biggest heart out of all of them. Because
Okay.
remember, he wants the physical heart, but he's always had the
I
love
see.
inside of him the entire time. He's the one that like looks after Dorothy the most. Watch the movie again,
Yeah.
guys.
No, I know. Yeah. I know. All right. Great.
The Scarecrow came up with all the ideas during the movie. The Cowardly Lion did brave things, and the Tin Man was always the most loving. If you rewatch it,
I
again.
see.
They already had those
had it
qualities.
deep inside.
Yes,
All
they had it the whole
along.
time. Just like Glinda says, you've always had the power to go home. Just click your heels together 3 times. They all had the power all along.
I guess.
Aw.
Okay.
So that's mine.
All right.
I'm fucking the Tin Man.
Ugh.
Okay.
How?
Because, yeah, that
He's
makes sense.
tin. Wouldn't you?
He's gonna lay some pipe.
Yeah, it
He's
is.
gonna lay some pipe.
That's
He's,
right.
But
he's
would
got a
that-
metal.
Would that
something.
hurt? A metal dick?
I think it would hurt.
it
It's
might hurt.
inflexible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends.
It's gonna hurt
Depends
less
on
than
the
The
design.
scarecrow seems itchy.
Okay.
It's very itchy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna be cleaning stuff out
Oh,
for
no,
months.
don't.
Well, yeah,
You're gonna be pulling straw. out of your
metal,
couch.
metal
Yeah.
seems easy to clean. You can
Yeah.
get those like Clorox wipes.
Yeah.
Just
Wipe that bitch
In fact,
down.
you can probably use the wipes that they make for cleaning sex toys.
yeah,
Just pull one of those
pull
out.
one of those out.
He'd be
Seems-
like a not human, but kind of living sex toy.
yeah, it would be kind of like one of those sex robots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna marry the Scarecrow. I like the ideas. I like his.
He's actually the smartest,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
If we're going
dance.
by this logic, and
Yeah.
he can dance.
He can dance, which will be fun.
It would be fun.
Something little. I just never. I never liked the Cowardly Lion like crying. I never.
He's
I
my
never liked
favorite.
it.
I would say the crying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit much with
It was
the crying.
big. The crying was big.
Not a very like nice thing to say, and of course, like men should be able to show emotion and stuff like that. But I don't know if it's the Midwesterner in me or the like internalized bullshit that whenever I see a man cry, I'm, suck it up, you
Yeah.
know.
Wow.
And
Well,
that's
it's-
terrible.
The Cowardly
That's
Lion is
terrible.
very weepy too. Like it's not like a regular cry
I
because
think
something's
that's
going
the
on.
issue.
It's like
Yeah, I'm not there's not a thing about like men crying to me. I'm just like, yeah, have your feelings, have your emotions. It's a whimpering,
Yeah.
kind of simpering, weeping.
simpering.
Yeah,
I love that,
that
word.
I'm like
Yep.
Simpering.
that's kind of I think that's where I am with you on that. Like I do feel like he would cry after sex.
Yeah.
And I'm like
But then I would be able to cuddle him and tell him it's okay, and
But
it'd be like
I don't know that I want to do that.
it reminds me of like it's like
remember
cuddling
that
my it's
story?
like cuddling my dog. It's just furry and warm.
Oh no.
No.
I have a different love for my animals than I do for my husband.
Well,
What I like to say.
I have to say, yeah, I don't think I don't think I would want to fuck the Cowardly Lion because of that. Because I feel like he's one of those that would be like, it was so beautiful. And
but he'd
cry.
be fucking wild during it. He's a fucking lion.
Yeah,
It'd
true.
be some good
That is
sex.
true. And that's something that I hadn't thought about. At the end of the day, he is still a lion. So that would probably be good.
Put him up.
And whereas I feel like the Tin Man would be very stiff in bed. Very stiff. I feel like you're going to do the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to be on top and you're going to do the work.
That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel, but yeah, I mean, you could, I'm going to go, I'm still, okay, I'm going to fuck the Tin Man. Yeah. Because I'm willing to do the work on that.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I
You
feel
think it'd be
like,
worth it?
It's like one of those things. What are
We can
those?
do it once.
What are those things that you the like?
What?
You can't.
Dildo?
Those things
Oh,
that
the
you
suction?
sit on.
Yeah, you suction it to a
Sibian?
chair.
A sib-
A Sibian.
Oh, a Sibian.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
yeah.
Of.
Yeah. It'll be like that. And that's fine.
Wait, will it vibrate?
fine.
A Sibian
I mean,
like vibrates.
I feel
Does it-
like that is a capability.
I feel
would the
like
Tin
it's
Man's
gotta
dick
switch.
vibrate?
I feel
I
like
think it
maybe
will.
you could rig it to do that. Yeah.
You might be changing my mind,
Yeah.
you guys.
You know, and
pretty sure this porn exists.
Yeah, probably.
Actually,
100%.
there's Wizard of Oz porn, and
Absolutely.
we need you to find it.
And also, I feel like he
You're
does
like, I
scared.
can't.
I'm
he
scared.
does
like
have
that.
a big heart.
Yeah.
And but I don't feel like it's not like he's going to cry because it was so beautiful. I feel like he's got the kind of big heart where he is the kind of man that if you were living somewhere where it snows, he's got the kind of heart that's going to wake up before you and go scrape your windshield.
He can't because the snow would make him rust, and he would.
You're
rust
right.
out. Because when the snow falls, when they're in the poppy
right.
fields,
That's right.
he can't move.
Okay, well then he'll wake up early and he'll go take your car for an oil change and a car wash.
There you go.
And then bring you back a Starbucks.
Yep.
He has that kind of heart.
Yeah.
So
Wonderful.
I'm like, I'm gonna fuck him. He seems that seems good. And then I think I'm gonna marry the Scarecrow because I like a man with ideas.
Yeah.
Okay. I like an idea guy.
I like capers.
Yes. I want to go on adventures.
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
He is very clumsy. He's gonna fall apart a lot. You got to put him back together.
I also fall apart a lot. Maybe that's not good, actually,
Sounds
for
like a lot of
love
work, to
match.
be honest.
Actually, I'm going to switch it. No, but I don't really want to fuck the Scarecrow. That doesn't seem fun. But he is bendy.
He is bendy.
And he's gonna
What
fall
you're
apart.
describing of the Tin Man sounds like a boyfriend, not someone you'd fuck.
Yeah, doesn't it? Like the Tin Man kind of it seems like I kind of want to marry the Tin Man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't really want to fuck the Scarecrow.
You can fuck the lion.
He's wild, Keegan. He's untamable.
And now I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to fuck the Scarecrow and, see which shapes we can bend him in.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do. Yeah.
Okay,
He's getting adventurous.
I got a real hot take here, which is that don't hate me mad again.
I'm not going to hate you.
You already know this.
Do I
And
know
if-
this already?
I feel like you do.
I think you might have told me
I
that you
feel
don't
like-
like The Wizard of Oz.
I hate the Wizard of Oz.
It's
It
okay.
scared me, and I hated it. I hated
Was
that
it
movie
the witch?
when I was a kid. The
The
whole
monkeys?
thing. The whole thing. I never. It really creeped me out as a kid.
I
which
can
is
see
weird.
why.
Yeah,
I can see
sometimes
why.
if you see something at a certain time
Yeah.
in your
Yeah.
development, it will, and then it's ruined
And
for you
it's
forever.
ruined
Yeah.
for me forever. I know, and I appreciate the idea of the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, yeah.
The book is
The
really,
story is great.
The book is great.
Yeah. So, but this one's really hard for me because
You
I
just
don't
kill all
have
of them?
necessarily an affinity for anything on this, except for I think if I had to pick one of them, I probably had the most affinity toward the Cowardly Lion, just
Okay.
because soft, furry, fluffy, it's animally.
So would
know?
you
Yes.
marry him then?
I think that
We have not described him in such a way that would make Cassie want to,
no,
but
Yeah.
it really everything about him. You know what? Ugh. I think I am going to marry him. 'Cause
Okay.
actually, he does remind me the most of my husband, which
There
is
you go.
that he's
Yeah.
very loyal. He's very sweet.
yeah,
He's very furry. He's
the
very
loyalty would be good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he just seems like not. He just seems like the best guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he'll step up for you if you need it.
Oh, absolutely.
He's courageous.
yeah.
He's got your back if you need it. I think he's not as stupid as everybody paints him to be necessarily. I think that he's probably the most well-rounded.
Yeah.
And he's not afraid of being emotional. I do agree that the Cowardly Lion itself in the movie is way too weepy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I can't deal with that.
Yeah.
However, my husband has actually taught me, my husband's the first guy that I've been with who I've seen cry.
Yeah.
And I was like, at first I had that Midwestern part of me that was like, oh, what do I do with the things that are happening right now? What is
Yeah.
that falling out of your eyeballs? I don't understand.
How do I make it stop?
And then I was like, you know what? It actually endeared me to him further that he could be that person who could be open enough
Yeah.
to be
Yeah,
that vulnerable.
it is.
And,
It's
and
a great
it actually
quality.
made him more attractive to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to marry the lion. I think that I'm going to... I think I'm going to kill the Tin Man only because he gets on my fucking nerves. And
You're going to fuck the Scarecrow. That's bold.
it is. It's a bold move, Cotton.
You and
I've been
Keegan.
trying to think of I thought of maybe the only thing I can think of is like those people that like tickled.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
I
I
hate
feel
that.
like he could.
I hate that.
What?
To be
Tickle.
tickly? Like the straw would be tickly?
tickly.
Scarecrow.
Yeah.
I
I
feel
hate
like he's
that.
gonna make me itchy. I really do. I feel like I'm gonna break out in hives afterwards.
You're going to be
Oh, yeah,
real red
absolutely.
down
Oh,
there.
Yeah.
I 100% will
yeah,
be in hives.
yeah. But
I hate it.
But so bendy.
But you know, we've all taken one for the team.
You know what?
I mean?
And
We've
if I'm
all
gonna
like
take one
had
for the
sex
team. I don't want
experience.
after effects. I want this. I'm changing my mind. I don't want the after effects of itching for days. I would rather fuck the fucking
Tin
Man.
Man. Get the shit over with. It's one
Yeah.
time, one and done. Move on.
Yeah.
What am I gonna get arrested?
Yeah.
yeah, because I will say, yeah, fucking the Scarecrow it's gonna be like fucking a corn stalk.
Yeah.
I hate it.
That's probably not gonna be. You're
Well, I'm
marrying
marrying
it,
him.
so it's gonna be many times
and then
for you.
I got to figure it out. I
Yeah.
got to think about it. And we got to figure it out. We got to
come to a solution.
We got to come to a solution.
Did they turn into like actual humans at the end?
I don't
No.
think
Oh
so.
yeah, no, they're
Well,
her. It's a dream or whatever,
dream.
and so
It's
it
like
was
her-
like her.
It's the farm workers.
Which I don't like that.
I don't like that they're in her bedroom when she wakes up either. The farm
well,
workers.
did you know that the
outta here.
Scarecrow was originally written to be Dorothy's love interest?
I hate that.
But Dorothy's supposed to be like
13
young.
or something, younger than that, right?
But that's why at the end she says, "I think I'll miss you most of all." That one line, it went through like 36 screenwriters. Like this movie being made was crazy. So it went through so many screenwriters where the story was constantly changing, but they never took that line out. So people were always like, "Why is she going to miss him?"
The most.
I
The
just
most.
assumed it's because
They met first?
They met first.
Yeah.
It's the first one. She's been with him the longest.
But it's left over from the love
wild.
story they were supposed to have in this
Interesting.
movie.
well, I would have
Interesting.
hated that for sure.
Yeah. Well, and it's 16-year-old Judy Garland with like a
was he
30,
like
40
45?
something Ray Bolger. Like, yeah, not fun. Not fun at all.
It was the 30s.
Yeah.
Shit was weird.
Yeah, very weird.
It was weird.
Well, this was really fun. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We do you have anything coming up with your angry neighborhood feminists? Anything to plug? Any place they should go?
Well, I mean, we have our usual places that we kind of direct our listeners to. If you want to like message us and chat with us, there's email where that's neighborhoodfeminist@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at Angry Neighborhood Feminist. We love getting direct messages there as well. We've got a Facebook group page. We've got a business page. We are on Radio Public where you can listen to us. And then we've kind of got some stuff
Or
that's
wherever you listen to
slowly-
podcasts, you know.
Yeah. And then we've got kind of some stuff slowly in the works that we aren't going to talk about yet because there's still some things that we have to kind of work out. But if you start listening right now, you're in the middle of our Black History Month. We started a week late. And then after that is Women's History Month, which is always really
This is a fun time of year
Yeah.
to start listening because you got Black History Month, you've got Women's History Month, and we do try and pick topics that are relevant to that. And
Yeah.
we do put out 2 episodes every week. So we put out an episode on Monday is our full-length episode, and then an episode on Friday is our What's in the News mini episode.
Yeah.
So you can tune in to either of those.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good fun. Good fun.
Well, thank you guys so much. And as always, if you've got, podcasts that you think we should hook up with for these new double dates, send them our way, the My Worst Date Podcast at gmail.com. And thank you so much for listening.
Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.